What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well. What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. Today, we are rocking the Atlanta Braves, and it's not the Los Angeles Dodgers, but it's the Brooklyn Dodgers. I don't have an LA Dodgers hat. What's going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well. It's been quite a minute since I've done a live stream, more like quite a week. Usually I love coming on here. I love interacting with you guys that tune in. If you guys leave comments, I always enjoy it. So I figured, I'd start doing some weekly streams during the off season. Now there's no Mets baseball going on. So I figured I'd do some streams, talk, just, get stuff off my chest, what's going on with baseball, how I feel. Obviously I'm going to do these streams pretty much weekly for the most part and just go over what's going on around Major League Baseball, as well as the New York Mets, because we know there is a lot going on around Major League Baseball. Mets news is kind of quiet. There's not a whole lot to talk about. For the most part, you really have to wait till, I guess, the World Series is over to talk. But what's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden here, like I said. Please, everyone, before we get started on today's stream, I guess, before we get into all the comments, smash that like button. Turn on those post notifications. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. We're almost at 500 subscribers. So if you know anyone that would be willing to subscribe, share it, all that great stuff, LFGM or Let's Freaking Go Baseball at this rate. We all know me. I love all baseball. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, we're going to get into it. So I guess let's stop wasting any time and let's get into it. Let's get right into it. We'll go over some Major League Baseball news. I believe there is a lot of, to an extent, some Major League Baseball news. I will likely to be covering that. Otherwise, we got some good stuff planned in today's stream. As we know, the Los Angeles Dodgers play the Atlanta Braves later today at 8:08. Game 3 of this series at Dodger Stadium. Game 6 overall, I mean. So we will see the Braves need one more win, and they could potentially go to the World Series. And that sounds pretty good for the most part if you're a Braves fan and do a basic thing. But for the most part, we know the Atlanta Braves. Last year, the Atlanta Braves were in the same exact boat. 3-1 in the NLCS, and the Dodgers 3-2, 3-3, 3-4. Dodgers won. So, it looks appetizing to see that 3-1. But that's baseball. It's unpredictable. Anything can change. So that's what I love about baseball so much, is that scores, results, they change at any moment. It's great to see. It really is good to see. But, let's, I guess, get into all the comments, and we will go over some news if there's any news I see on Twitter. But what's going on, everyone? Gio, what's going on? Man, I appreciate you tuning into this stream. LFGM, Irish Gorilla. What's going on? Appreciate you tuning into the stream. LFGM also. Travis Berg Jr., what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning into the stream as always. Zach Not Cool YouTube. Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Michael, what's going on? Quintin, what's going on? Michael says, you speak very well, Hayden. Don't waste your talent. You should be on SNY instead of Martino. Well, I appreciate that, man. That hits home. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Would like to get into sports. There is some changes in the mix. Hopefully, we'll leave it at that. But I appreciate it, man. Coby, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Coby says LFGM, of course. Ibindo says salute. Of course, man. Paul, what's going on? Yes, go me. Nick says, who are your World Series teams? Well, as of right now, we have 4 teams left to choose from. You have the Houston Astros and, of course, the Boston Red Sox. And then I guess on the American League side, we have the one and only Atlanta Braves, who are in favor right now, versus Los Angeles Dodgers. So we're going to see. Obviously, I would love to see another 2017 matchup. That would be awesome. If we saw another 2017 matchup, Los Angeles Dodgers against the Houston Astros, just imagine the Astros playing in Los Angeles during all this. I think that could honestly be crazy to watch. I would watch every minute of that game. I don't know about you guys, but I would seriously watch every single minute of that game. Gio says, hey, what's going on, Gio? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Coby says, I read an article on New York Post that talked about Justin Verlander coming to New York. I did see that. Let me pull that up. Give me 2 seconds to pull that up. I did see something like that. I don't know how realistic it is that he's going to come to New York. Well, he'll come to New York. It's just if it's the Mets or the Yankees. Personally, I think if either the Mets or the Yankees go after Justin Verlander, it's kind of a mistake. I mean, both of these pitching staffs have dealt with their fair share of injuries. Listen, Justin Verlander, he's a fine wine. He will age. He ages well. I just don't see him fitting in super well with New York. I don't know. There's just something about it. We know he's a free agent. He got the Tommy John surgery. Great. I just can't picture him fitting in New York. I don't know. Maybe it's me. It probably is me, but I just don't see him picturing him in New York. Personally, I could see him going back to Detroit, playing with his boy, with his former friend, AJ Hinch. I mean, I could see that. He started most of his career in Detroit. New York is a strong possibility. I know I keep saying it, but I just don't see it. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I just don't think it's that realistic of a choice. Let me pull it up. I couldn't find the article on my phone. Justin Verlander. Let's see what's coming up with him. Justin Verlander could be fascinating. Yep. Damn it. Hold on. Yeah, I think there's a possibility he could come to New York, but I think the likelihood is probably very small. Let me try to find that again. Sorry, I'm a little unprepared for this. I had a feeling I was going to talk about that today, but I'm glad you brought it up, Coby. Justin Verlander. Yeah, he'd be 39 when the season starts for them. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So let's see what this says. Mets or Yankees. He said pinstripe, so it depends either or. Verlander, the two-time Cy Young Award winner, Hall of Famer. We know he had Tommy John on his right elbow. Obviously, the Astros are going to let him walk, potentially. I mean, if the Astros are to re-sign him, it's going to be for a year deal. They would extend him $18.4 million qualifying offer to Verlander. That makes sense. 24 victory. I mean, honestly, Mets or Yankees is possible. I don't know. Personally, I have to do some more research on the likelihood, but I think you got to look at it. Yankees, they made this same mistake with Corey Kluber. They signed Corey Kluber, a guy who was injury prone, and I said to myself, why are they starting a guy who is injury prone? Why are they picking up this injury prone guy where the Yankees, they're coming off a season where they literally just suffered the worst injuries they saw. The 2020 Yankees or the 2021 Mets with injuries. So I don't know. Personally, I'd stick away from that. TP35, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. He says, does the CBA put the 2022 season in lockdown? Yeah, I certainly hope not. Obviously, they are making progress. A lot of the baseball, the players union, as well as the executives in the front office, the owners. We saw this past week or two, Rob Manfred passed an executive order pretty much stating that minor leaguers and I think foreign players, housing will be subsidized. So that's great. It's been about time. I mean, a lot of these guys, they're not on mega contracts. They're not on these huge deals. So, it's not fair to these guys. Guys like Mike Trout, yeah, they're safe. They have, so much money. They have $300+ million. Where, a lot of these minor league guys, they don't have an established contract yet. And it's not like a lot of these teams pick them up. They sign bonus signings. It's not like that. So we're going to see. I think it's good. This was a win for Major League Baseball. It was good. Rob Manfred did this. That was a checkbook in the Rob Manfred book, in my opinion. And he doesn't have that many. So Rob Manfred, he's going to want to start getting on the side of the players, of the guys. So, yeah, we are going to see about that. Otherwise, I think that was good that Rob Manfred did that. I really think it was good for Major League Baseball, for minor league baseball, and the players overall. Yeah, big win in my opinion. Big win. But yeah, like I said, if anyone else has any comments, questions, or concerns, drop them below. Do not be shy. Definitely going to be going over all the comments. Probably be on here for about a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Figured I'd just come on here, give a stream, interact with you guys. Like I said, content it's kind of dry. I mean, there is a lot to talk about, but I'm kind of wanting to save it for the off season because, coming December, November, that's when all the stuff's going to be pumping out. February, January is when it's going to be crazy with New York Mets content. But, there's not much going on, a little dry. So I figured come on here, talk, give my, thoughts, what's going on with baseball. Quintin says, do you collect baseball cards? I do. In that bin right back there, I have quite a lot of baseball cards. I probably at least have a couple hundred, maybe 700, 800. I've been a huge collector of baseball cards, so definitely been very big on that. So I am debating about doing some. I'm starting to get more into baseball card collecting. It's been something that, you see a lot of these people. They go out and they try to go for the signatures and this card and that card. Personally, I've never really been crazy. I've never been a crazy collector. So that's why I'm really hoping to start getting into baseball card collecting. I think it's a great hobby, and it's not super common anymore. So that's why I really feel it is, for the most part. So yeah, definitely, I'm probably going to do some content on baseball card collecting. That'll be something I would like to do. Show off some baseball cards. Show what I got. I think that'd be pretty cool of me to do. Martin, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Mark's here says, do you think the Mets should explore other options for a closer? That's your question. To be honest with you, I know that was briefly. I heard a couple people talking about that on Twitter. To be honest, the thing with Edwin Diaz is you invested so much in him. You really, pretty much made the Seattle Mariners the New York Mets minor leagues. So I would really hate for the Mets to just throw away Diaz after you gave up guys like Kalanick and a lot of our farm system to clear out that trade. Cano, I don't care about Cano. Cano's the other part of it. Cano is a whole other topic for a whole other day. Personally, getting into Robinson Cano, I don't want it to be another Bobby Bonilla where you have to pay him $1 million for the next decade, 2 decades. That would be an embarrassment. That really would. So I'm really hoping, if you were to have Robinson Cano start at third base for the Mets, that's just kind of a joke in my opinion. I just, if you have Cano start at third base, that's just sad. A team that is supposed to have World Series hopes and ambitions, you can't have Cano play third base. You have to have a young guy in there. You have to have a young guy like Correa. You can't have a 38-year-old play third base. If so, call David Wright in. I just don't get it. So yeah, honestly, we're going to see how that goes overall. But getting into your other question is, should the Mets explore options? Like I said, honestly, I think you have to go with Diaz for now. Like I said, you invested so much in him that I hate to just throw it all away. Personally, with Diaz, he's a little inconsistent. He'll have 2 weeks where he pitches awesome, immaculate. Well, not exactly immaculate, but he'll pitch really well. It's just, he'll have one start, and from the first pitch thrown, as soon as it hits McCann or Nitos or whoever is behind the plate, as soon as it hits their glove, it's going to be one of those starts for Diaz. His slider doesn't look good. The ball's in the dirt. He cannot locate the command of the strike zone. The slider is really the big thing. And, people say, oh, well, then, don't throw the slider. Well, yeah, then he just has the fastball. And, is he really going to be effective with one pitch? Not really. Diaz developing another pitch could be a possibility. I think he may have like a curve or something, but I don't think he uses it. So yeah, honestly, we're really going to have to see what these guys do, what they want to do with Diaz. Developing a third pitch could potentially help. Excuse me. I think developing a third pitch could potentially help. I just think, you got to be realistic. You're stuck with them. Guys like Rafael Iglesias are in talks to come to the Mets. Is he going to be a closer? Is he not? We've seen Diaz in non-save situations. The numbers aren't as appetizing as save situations. So that's my big concern with him. It really is. But overall, to answer your question, Marks, I guess no. There's really no point at this rate. Zach Not Cool YouTube, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning into the stream. Jed, appreciate you tuning in also. Jed says, looking at all the bench mob, who goes and who stays? So I guess let's look at the Mets roster right now, because I believe Jonathan Villar today selected free agency. So that puts him out of the picture, if that is true. I don't know if that was real or not, but I saw something around that. Obviously, on the bench, you have Tomas Nido, the backup catcher. He's obviously staying. Nido, he's been good behind the plate. He's had his health issues this season. It's the only really negative thing. He's been solid behind the plate. He has a solid arm. His framing is solid. Blocks the ball well, gets in the dirt well, seems to have a great relationship with his pitchers. No miscommunication, no confusion there. Nido has been solid for the Mets. I don't really have any complaints with him. Offensively, he's really like a line drive and a pop fly hitter. I mean, maybe try to put the ball on the ground more. I mean, maybe beat the shift. Like I said, I'm not crazy about catcher's offense. It's just, well, you know what? That's the thing. I think as soon as the DH comes, I won't really care about catcher's offense. Because that's the thing that you got to look at is right now, if people say, oh, catcher's offense doesn't matter. Okay, so then what? Then you have back-to-back hitters that don't matter, catcher and pitcher. You know, in the American League, I don't really care in the American League if Gary Sanchez is going to hit well. Or if Sean Murphy is going to hit well. Because they have a DH role. They don't have their pitchers playing. So it's you pretty much have an extra bat in that order. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping with the Mets, with Nido. So I'm not super concerned about Nido's offense. His defense has been spectacular. He's been solid. Nothing crazy, but he gets the job done, and he's better than McCann this season. That is true. He's a story for another day. I guess obviously you do have Jose Peraza. Jose Peraza's nice, king of the bench mob. Peraza, he's been very, very clutch with this Mets team. You really hope a guy like Jose Peraza can honestly really help out this Mets team some more. He's been clutch. He's a utility guy. You could throw him anywhere in the field. No complaints with Peraza. I would like to see him stay. Worst case scenario, if he doesn't start off the season on the roster, he could always start on the bench. Obviously, in the third spot on the bench, you have Jonathan VR, who I believe he may have selected free agency today. I'm not sure. I may have to do some deep searching in that. VR has had a marvelous season. I mean, for what, 33, 32 years old? He has been really good for us this season. I mean, posting a slash line, 249, 322, 738. He started off the Mets season not super great. He really did struggle. But simply enough, he really came into clutch when times needed. There was a time, I think, before the season was about to end, where he was the leadoff spot over Nimmo. He had like a dozen-game hit streak. He was a guy who really was responsible for this Mets team. I mean, you look at it, he was third place for the New York Mets in home runs at 18. Who would have think that in April? Nobody. VR has been great. The only thing is, like I said, VR, he's going to want a starting spot, and the Mets, the Mets can't offer him a starting spot. There's nowhere to put him. Second base is out of the picture. Shortstop is out of the picture. And third base, VR, I don't think is a really everyday player. He's been an everyday player on teams like the Blue Jays, the Marlins. That's great, but this is a Mets team that wants to make it to the playoffs. I don't picture him being a third baseman for a playoff team. Obviously, it's not so much the defensive point or the offensive point. It's just overall. So that's the thing. I think the Mets are going to want to keep VR on the bench. Yes, VR did play third base for most part of the season, but look where it got us. So, yeah. Obviously, next, you do have Luis Guillorme. Been solid, nice defensive guy. You hope he can wake up with the bat more. He'll have a great on base percentage. He'll get on base a lot, whether that's walks. He'll hit the ball the other way. Some line drives. Doesn't have power. He doesn't really hit home runs, which it's expected. So maybe he can go to the Yankees. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Guillorme's been a nice guy. More of a defensive replacement in my eyes. He's great for memes, I guess. Obviously, next up, I guess in that fifth spot, supposedly, if you want to rock on a 5 or 4-man bench, depending, you make the decision. You have Kevin Pillar. Pillar does have another year in his contract, so I don't really think he would go anywhere. I don't think any team would want Kevin Pillar solo. You would probably just have to take Pillar in a trade if the Mets manage to get rid of him, whether they trade away J.D. Davis or someone else they could throw him in that trade. So that's what I'm thinking with Kevin Pillar. He's another year older. He's not the best at the plate. He's come into clutch in extra inning situations, which is great. But I feel the numbers he really put up this season weren't super great. Obviously, he went to an everyday starter. So that's what you got to look at. Otherwise, Pilar, he's solid in the outfield, but I think you do have Khalil Lee. Would I take Pilar over Khalil Lee? That's the real question. We saw Khalil Lee, who I guess will be the potential six-man question mark. Khalil Lee will no doubt be either in AAA or with the Mets next season. He'll be on the 40-man roster 100%. Khalil Lee is a guy who I think the Mets realistically can have good hopes with. I think you have to look at Khalil Lee. When we got the small sample size of him, probably a week or two sample size of him back in May, he was more of a defensive guy. He was good with the glove. He had some good leather really out in the outfield. Great speed, great athleticism, could track a ball well, great leg mechanics, etc. No complaints. Really no complaints with Khalil Lee. I just think you have to look at it where the offensive approach, he wasn't really making much contact. I think he probably had, 2 or 3 hits, and they were dribblers, not even dribblers, but they were hit pretty sharply down the foul line. So that's the thing is, I would like to see Khalil Lee start raking more. As soon as they sent him down to AAA, he started to rake. So the question for Khalil Lee is, can he hit well at the major league level? That's my question. I'm not asking for a power hitter. He has athleticism. He has speed, something the Mets lack, and they need more of. That is what I am hoping for. Otherwise, Khalil Lee, I think, can get the start. But the thing is, if Khalil Lee isn't going to hit at the major league level, or this is the thing, if Khalil Lee is going to be a bench bat, keep him down in AAA. I'd rather get all of Khalil Lee than 2 days of Khalil Lee out of a week. That's what I think the Mets should do with Khalil Lee. That's the bench. It's going to be something, Jed. Quintin says, keep Peterson and Megill. They're showing potential, young and cheap, and we need pitching. That's true. I see that point. Obviously, David Peterson did not have the season he expected. He really, really struggled. And then he got injured, and then he stubbed his toe in the dugout. And I don't really know exactly what happened with that. To be honest with you, Megill, honestly, I don't want to say I'm nuts, but I would have no problem if both of them started in AAA. Quick history lesson. I get it. They have potential. I get it. They're young and they're cheap and we need pitching. I have no problem with them being in AAA. Get it started. David Peterson, he was rushed up, in my opinion, in 2020. 2020, it was a shortened season. It was hell as it was. The Mets, I think, had Waka, Porcello, Syndergaard was out. I think DeGrom was in and out, and they really had no rotation in 2020. Steven Matz was in and out of the bullpen, giving up 10 runs per inning. They really rushed up Peterson. Peterson really had a limited amount of time in the minor leagues that I don't think he got the full experience down there. He did great in 2020. He really stepped up under pressure. He was the only guy not named Jacob deGrom to play well in 2020. We saw him this season. He had a couple solid starts. Don't get me wrong. He had that one against the Phillies. He had that one against the Orioles. Double-digit strikeouts. Pounding the strike zone well, limiting those whiffs, limiting contact. Slider really came into effect. Then we saw more so in the second half of the first half. Slider wasn't locating well. The command was struggling. The long ball was really something for him, giving up a lot of contact, a lot of barrels. So I don't know. I'm really hoping that we could see what to do with David Peterson. Tyler Megill, on the other hand, he started off the season really well. The issue with him towards the end of the season was the pitch count and the innings pitched. A guy who in the minor leagues never pitched this much. He never pitched, 100 or 90 innings pitched. Megill was a guy who really only pitched, 50, 60 innings in the minor leagues. So that's what I'm just going to have to see. What can the Mets do with Megill? Hopefully, do you send him down in AAA and call him up throughout the season? This is the thing. The Mets, I am tired of hearing we have the best pitching staff when healthy. I cannot stand hearing that anymore. When healthy. Get healthy. How do you get healthy? I want the Mets to have a full-on set rotation down in AAA. Not of course, MLB, stars, but guys not like your Corey Oswalds, but your guys who will be called up if, Noah Syndergaard is out for a game, or if deGrom is getting his day pushed back. Carrasco's out for a game. I want a guy to be called up that you could have trust and confidence in, like David Peterson, like Tyler Megill. I would have no problem if those two guys started off the year in AAA, got their innings pitched, built their confidence, built everything they need to do, whether it's a pitch, a location, command. David Peterson needs to do that, and then call him up in the scenario when injuries needed. My thing with David Peterson is people are saying, well, why don't you throw him in the bullpen? That's an opportunity, but my thing with throwing David Peterson in the bullpen is I think it's really going to decrease the value in him. And Megill, maybe Megill you can, I don't know. I mean, Megill's young. They both have a lot of years of control, so I just don't know. But I agree with you, man. You want to keep them, whether it's at the major league level or the minor league level. You want to hold on to these guys. Baseball is my air. What's going on, man? He says, could Baty start at third base? Baty, however you say it. As a player, he is. In terms of, I'm not sure if you're asking for when he comes up in the season. Possibly, no. When's his ETA? I think it's like 2020. I want to say it's like 2022, 2023. Brett Baty, he's the second prospect, yes. 2022, okay. He's a left-handed bat, so I think the Mets have a whole other thing with that, but I don't care about that. He's going to play third base. I think he can play some outfield, but primarily third base. I don't see him starting the season. I think he'll get another year probably in AAA. This guy was really moved around quickly. Same for Alvarez, same for Vientos, Mauricio. Those 4 to 5 guys really pushed their way up extremely quickly in the minor leagues. So yeah, they're moving up. Doesn't mean they're MLB ready. Maybe not. Baty, he'll be the third baseman. He'll obviously play third base. I don't know if you're asking if he'll play third base or if he'll start. He'll play third base. I don't see him starting. I understand you have the whole debacle of the question of, third base. Do you get Correa? Do you shift Baez there? Put McNeil at second? Do you put McNeil at third? Do you put Cano at third? Do you put Villar at third? That's my biggest concern. Personally, I don't see him starting third base, regardless of his age, regardless of his ETA. He hits the ball well. Baty, in the minor leagues, he hits the ball well, has great discipline at the plate. Hits the ball the other way. He'll use the whole field. He'll hit for some nice power. I mean, I look at the XBAs on this and the exit velocity, 110.7. Mind-boggling. It's great. I love to see the power there. The defense, you want him to work on the defense. His defense isn't completely crazy. But, when you look at a lot of these guys, like Brett Baty, they're being put in the same conversation as hype prospects like David Wright, Jose Reyes. And the Mets haven't had an extremely high valued third baseman since the ages of David Wright. I want us to have a third baseman. I mean, someone said to me yesterday, the Mets had it was 15 or 14 guys that were at third base for a week since David Wright kind of finished his career in 2016, not talking about him retiring in 2018. So yeah, honestly, we're going to have to see how that goes. Overall, Baty, I think he's going to be good. I'm really excited to see him get called up. I could see him get called up at the trade deadline. Not the trade deadline, the September call-ups. Otherwise, I don't see him starting. He'll be in spring training with these guys, no doubt, but I don't see him starting. Christopher, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in, Christopher. Always good to see you. No worries. You're here now. Omar Minaya, he was already with the Mets, so I'm probably going to have to pass that, to be honest with you. By the way, if you guys did not see, please feel free. I did upload a video 2 days ago in regards to who should be the president of baseball operations and who my pick would be. It is Josh Burns. I'll say it because it's on the title and the thumbnail. So if you guys would like to check that out, please do. Watch it. Let me know your thoughts. Josh Burns is my pick. I don't want to spoil it too much or go on too much on the stream about it because I made a video about it, so I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, Omar Minaya, I'm going to pass on that. Ditch Cano. Yeah, Randolph, I'm going to agree with you. I mean, I just ditch Cano. I don't know if you're implying give him the buyout and just pay him his money and do the Bobby Bonilla style, or if you get some value out of him. Cano, he's not starting. If he starts, I'm losing it. You could throw him on the bench. Maybe he's been a guy who comes into clutch situations and is able to do stuff offensively. Defensively, I don't know. I guess he could throw a ball and field a ground ball. Great. He won't have the same athleticism as he had, 10 years ago, the Yankees. I think he could be a bench bat. I mean, you talk about this energy, this morale, the chemistry. I think he's a great fit for that. He's a guy who, then actually, you know what? I question if he's a great guy for chemistry because he cheated. So are the players going to respect him for that? I mean, it's not like you cheated once. You cheated twice. I mean, who cares about the Mariners part when he cheated with the Mariners? That was with the Mariners. He cheated with the Mets. So I don't know how some guys like Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil, Lindor, Bias, I don't know how they're going to feel about that. Probably not too well. So, yeah, I guess when you bring up the topic chemistry, I don't think it fits in too well. Coby, what's going on? Coby says, who will be the first player the Mets sign when the offseason begins? So the offseason, obviously, a lot of our signings won't be till after the after I think it's like a week after the World Series. You won't see it till the winter meetings, which is like December. That's when a lot of moves are made. I don't know if you're talking like big moves, guys like Correa or Story or trades. But I'm guessing like the first move the Mets may make, I could see them signing. I could see them re-signing Aaron Loup quickly. I could see that getting done. Obviously they'll give some guys like some AAA contracts, some minor league contracts, or qualifying offers, I think. I don't obviously know when Baez, they're talking about the Mets want to get Baez quickly. We'll get into that, but realistically, I think a guy like Loup would probably get that. That's an easy signing. I mean, that's an easy signing. Loup, I'm trying to think who else the Mets have. I mean, Syndergaard, they'll probably get that qualifying offer out of the way, so I could see them giving Syndergaard the qualifying offer. He said he'll accept, so good job, Syndergaard. Travis, what's going on? He says Pilar has heart. He does. He has the Heart and Hustle Award I saw. But yeah, great inspiration to the team. Mets fans, MB, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning into the stream. What are we going to do this offseason? Well, we got a lot to do this offseason. You have everything from the executive office, with the president of baseball operations. You need a general manager, and you need a manager. So those are three things you need to address. That's the thing is, a lot of people are saying, get Josh Burns here already. Get someone here already. Get this guy here already. I'm going to briefly touch on this. Josh Burns, you're not going to be able to get anything with him until the Dodgers are out of the postseason or win the World Series or whatever. So you're not going to get any communication there. So you're not going to get any communication there. Obviously, it comes to question, what are you going to do with the front office? Do you keep Sandy Alderson as the president of baseball operations? Personally, I don't see him in that role. I think he'll stay there, and then he'll move back. He'll stay with the team, but nothing crazy. Maybe some scouting department. I'm down to that. But that's the thing is everyone's saying, just keep Sandy, and Sandy can, pick up some guys during, free agency when everything starts. Keep Sandy Alderson, and then, the new guy will take over. Well, that's my concern is I don't know how will this new president of operations or GM like the guys that Sandy is to acquire in the month that he still stays as GM. It could be a small guy or a big guy. I don't know if the new president of operations and GM is going to like the moves he make. If they'll like the guy, the move, I don't know. Obviously, I guess to answer your question overall, you got the front office. You need a president of operations. You need a general manager, and you need a manager. You want to be careful with those because the Mets had 5 managers in the last 5 years. You'd had back-to-back general managers have personal scandals. And then you have the president of operations, which you don't want to screw up. You got to address third base. J.D. Davis is the most likely candidate to leave, in my opinion. He is the most likely guy to leave. Trying to think who else you got. You got to obviously lock down a possible extension with Baez. Conforto is going to be the big question, and then if you don't have Conforto, do you go after a right fielder? Do you shift Nimmo over to the left, and then you got to worry about a left fielder also? Do you keep Dom Smith? A lot of questions. Personally, to sum up my hopeful Mets offseason in 30 seconds, sign Carlos Correa, sign Raisel Iglesias, bring in Josh Burns for the president of baseball operations, try to get some guy from the Rays to be the GM. And honestly, for the manager, I really don't know. Because honestly, I think the manager for the Mets, it's not going to be a Carlos Beltran or a really big name guy you're going to see. I think the manager for the Mets, or honestly the GM also, is going to be a guy that no one's ever heard of. It's going to be someone from the Rays. That's really it. Giants, Brewers, they're building something over there. They're not stripping their team apart. Dodgers, I could see it because they're so successful. They could lose Josh Burns. But yeah. LFGM, of course. Old sports fan Adam, what's going on? He says, hey, bro. How you doing? Left you a like. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We'll have no problem learning about the Mets offseason. Thank you, bro. Of course, man. Always here for that. What are your thoughts on Javier Baez, who's close to an extension early this offseason? Yeah, Baez is a guy that I am hoping the Mets can re-sign. As most of you guys know, I was not a big fan of Javier Baez when he first came to this team. I said, why are you bringing in Baez? I feel you're giving Lindor what he wants. You know, you're increasing the animosity with Jeff McNeil, and that whole thing happened because then, you know, with the whole raccoon, Lindor, McNeil had the issue, and then you bring in Lindor's buddy, and then Baez and Lindor say, hey, McNeil, skadoosh, go play 150 feet in the outfield. So it increased the animosity with the Mets, in my opinion. And overall with Baez, I said he's like a home run or strikeout guy, which is like the whole Yankees lineup. So I don't want that. I felt he was a guy who was completely overrated. Defensively, he was overrated. He came to this Mets team and he shut me the hell up in probably 2 weeks. Strikeout rate decreased. Chase rate decreased. Walks decreased. He hit for some crazy power, 9 home runs, hit for some crazy power, some clutch situations. He started to hit for the opposite way. I love to see that. He was a dude who had speed on the base paths. He stole bases, something the Mets really lacked is speed on this team. I mean, you had Lindor stealing bags. Conforto and McNeil couldn't really steal because they were coming off leg and hamstring issues. So that was pretty much all you really had. Overall, Baez is a guy who I want re-signed. I think it's going to come to how much and how long. Baez, I have no problem signing him for 5 to 6 years, giving him anywhere from $170 million. 200, that's a little much. 175 million would be my ideal contract. 6 years, 175. That's my ideal contract. You throw him at second base. I wouldn't have an issue of him playing third base. You got to work on the range with Baez. Everyone says, oh, he makes errors. And I said it too. A lot of his errors are throwing errors. He fields the ball fine. I mean, he's a wizard. He's like a gold glover with fielding. A lot of his throws, could be way off first base where Alonso or who's ever playing first is jumping 10 feet off the bag. So maybe if he does play third base, Baez, you got to work on the range with him. So that's why I'm saying second base is the best thing. Baez, I'm hoping we could extend him. You want to do it early on this offseason because you got a lot to work on. Early on this offseason, I agree with you, Adam. Good question. But we got 17 people in the chat. I appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream. Like I said, if you are new to the channel, turn on those post notifications, hit that like button, subscribe, all that great stuff. I know it's meant to talk with Hayden, but, baseball, Braves, Dodgers, any team, Royals, whatever you guys want to talk about. David, what's going on? David is going to say get rid of Megill and Davis. Yeah, I mean, I see your point on J.D. Davis, obviously. J.D. Davis is a guy who playing with an injury this season. I get it. I just think there's nowhere to put him. If you want to throw him on the bench, go ahead. I just feel you're wasting some talent there. He could be a DH candidate. I don't trust him defensively at third base. You don't throw him in left field. He'll drop every ball and have terrible leg mechanics out there. So obviously, I see the point on Davis, obviously. Personally, J.D. Davis could be a DH candidate for the Mets. Otherwise, I could see him being – I think he's good, solid trade bait there. He'll be worth something. I mean, I could see him going to another team, an American League team, and obviously, I mean, hitting 25 home runs batting at least 280, having a high on base percentage. And we saw that in 2019. He was a guy who wasn't really expected to do much. We picked him up from Houston in a trade. I forgot who we traded, but it was nobody crazy. It's like your Jalen Palmers of the Mets we traded away. He was a guy who was expected to come off the bench, utility guy, 25 home runs, hit for high average, came into clutch, hit for power. Defensively, okay, but the offense made up for it. Now you don't get both of that with Davis. So it's going to come to the question. Obviously, with J.D. Davis, I would have no problem trading away. Obviously, I think he'll be in a package, more so solo. Otherwise, Davis, he cannot hit a fastball for his life, a high-inning pitch for his life. The Mets, our minor leaguers could hit fastballs better. If he can't hit a fastball, I don't think he should be at the major league level. Megill I'd hold on to. He's young. I mean, like I said, send him down to AAA first and then let him build his arm there. Nido, I guess you kind of got to keep because besides McCann, you're stuck with McCann for 4 years. So as much as I hate it, we're stuck with McCann for 4 years. Otherwise, you got Mazika, who defensively is fine. Offensively, he can't pull the ball off the ground. But like I stated before, as soon as the DH comes to the Mets in the National League, I do not care what your catcher's offense is. I just don't want a back-to-back. I just don't want your 8th and 9th hitter in this lineup being strikeout machines. So we're going to have to see how that goes. Nido, I would hold on to, and Megill. Davis, I agree with you, David. I'm not super big on J.D. Davis. Minister Brandon, what's going on? Appreciate that. I speak way too much. I know I talk fast. Facts, of course, Devin. All I speak is facts. Quintin says Burns is the best option left besides Scott Harris. Gomes is getting promoted this offseason, so he can't leave. Aim high for Burns. It's the most smart thing left to do. Yeah, Quintin, I agree with you. It would have been nice if Gomes could have came because obviously if Burns comes to the Mets, it's likely he'll bring some other Dodger executives, or yet alone, he's a respected guy in baseball with a great track record. Guys, they're going to want to play under him, sure. So that looks good. I just don't, like you said, Gomes is probably going to get promoted. I could see the Dodgers doing that. I think Burns is your best pick, yeah. Like I said, I did upload a video on that, Quintin, so if you want, check that out. Let me know your thoughts. Just Kickz, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning into the stream. Baez is the man, of course. Dodgers will be put tonight. We put out tonight. Yeah, we'll see. We know the Atlanta Braves, 3-1, same thing as 2020. And look what happened. So it's never safe until final pitch and the Braves or Dodger pitchers are greeting the catcher to win the pennant. So we will see. We will see. It's going to be good, though. It's going to be a good matchup. Christopher has the Braves and Astros World Series. Okay, I could see that. That'd be an okay matchup. I'd be okay with that. Logan says J.D. Davis should be traded. Yeah, I agree with you, Logan. I mean, as long as I think he'll be in a package, I don't think he'll be traded solo. I don't really know where are you going to throw him? I mean, can he play first base? We know when he was injured, he was taking some reps at first in the minor leagues. I mean, can you can't play 30, can't play outfield? He's a DH. And I mean, yeah, if the DH comes to the NL, that'll massively increase his options. So yeah, we'll see. Mets fans, MP says Braves and Red Sox. Okay, that's a good matchup, man. That's a good matchup. Merlin, what's going on? Merlin says, I want someone from the Rays organization. Yeah. I mean, if you could pry away someone from the Rays, the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Giants, and I'm trying to think of some other teams that have a good front office, then you really worked out well. If you get anyone from the Rays, I will take the popcorn man and the janitor, as someone said yesterday. I will take those guys. Now, being realistic, you want someone from the Braves. The Rays. Mets Kick says Mets should trade for Matt Chapman, sign Marte, and sign Rafael. Devers? Trying to think what other Rafael is there in baseball. Let me know. Just Kicks. Do you mean Rafael Devers at third base for the Red Sox? We should trade for Chapman. How do I word this? I have no problem signing Starling Marte. He's a guy who will offer some great speed on the base pass. He had like 43 stolen bases this year. Do I think he'll do that again? No. But I could see him stealing anywhere from 20 to 30 bags. He hits pretty well. He's a solid outfielder. You could platoon him on the corners. Yeah, you could platoon him on the. I guess you could platoon him. He's a solid guy. I'd have no problem signing Marte. It's going to be the asking price is going to be the question. Matt Chapman. This is my thing with Matt Chapman. Defensively, he's fine. I just question his offensive ability. He's a high strikeout guy. And the Mets, we've had our fair share of that in 2021. I don't want the Mets to be like the Yankees where they're pretty much a strikeout or power team. Matt Chapman, I like his defense. I just get very skeptical with his offense this year in the first half and the first of the second half. He really struck out a lot. He was a free swinger, swinging at every pitch in the dirt. And then he really picked up in the second half. He started going the long ball more. He started connecting, getting some barrels. I don't know. I just question his ability offensively. I think he could play good. He didn't bat for a high average. He didn't get on base a whole lot last year. I just don't want another strikeout guy in this lineup. If he could turn it around, go back to his 2019, 2018 season, I'm all for it. So you mean Rafael Iglesias? Yes, the closer from the Angels. Not sure if you heard it before, but yes, I am a big proponent of Rafael Iglesias. He's a guy who is completely underrated. I just question, is he going to want the closer role? Is it going to be this whole Brad Hand situation? No, I want the closer role. We'll see. But I mean, that sounds like a solid offseason. Yeah, you address third base, you address outfield, and you got a closer. It's not bad. What's going on, Jay? Appreciate you tuning into the stream, man. Jack in the Box, what's going on, man? Michael, what's going on? Good to see you here. Appreciate you tuning in. New to the channel. Good to see a new face here. I want J-Ram and a pitcher from the yeah. Honestly, I mean, Jose Ramirez is a solid guy. I think he will be traded this offseason. I just think where. Solid guy. You got a pitcher. They do have some solid pitching there. I mean, you got Shane Bieber, but that's going to be a lot to ask for. I mean, J-Ram and Shane Bieber. What you would have to give up for that. I mean, we're talking at least Vientos, Mauricio, and at least one or two guys that are in the Mets bench right now. So the asking price is a little much. I would love it. I don't know. That's tough. Yeah, like Gio says, I'm going to go on baseball trade values. I do go on baseball trade values. Maybe I'll do that this offseason. I'll do like some streams where you guys could like recommend trades, and I'll recommend some of my trades and you'll guys see what you think. I have no problem doing that. So yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll see. Yeah, no, you're good, man. No worries. But yeah, otherwise, if anyone else has any more comments, questions, or concerns, what's going on? Baseball's my air. Good to see you here. But yeah, like I said, if anyone else has any more comments, questions, or concerns, as always, drop them in the comments section below. I am going to try and see what's going on with the Mets. Coby, of course. Let's see what's going on. We know Carlos Carrasco, unfortunately, he got some surgery in his elbow or his arm or something for him. We knew something was wrong with Carrasco, and personally, I think it's the same injury that Carrasco had in May and April. I think it was never fixed. I think Carrasco pitched on an injured arm this season, and this is the production we got out of him. He was fatigued when he started off games, and it resulted in barrels and long balls. And I think that is honestly the Mets' fault that they didn't expect Carlos Carrasco better. So, I blame the Mets for that. That is their fault, in my opinion. So yeah, honestly, like I said, it sucks that happened. But you know what? What's the Mets' route they took? They were in dire need for pitching, and they called a lot of these guys up, whether they were still injured, and look what happened. And that's my biggest issue is that, they were saying, do we bring back DeGrom? Do we bring back DeGrom? Well, you can't do it if he's injured. So, yeah, we will see. But, yeah, just looking at some Mets news, trying to see what's going on. As we know, Billy Beane has withdrawn his name from being in talks with the Mets in the operation role or GM role, so he's out of the picture. Wasn't super crazy on him. We know David Ortiz gave off a joke saying he should be the Mets bench coach. Someone asked me about that. That was pretty funny. Otherwise, that's really it. GM, manager, and the executive role is still being looked at. And that's really it for the most part. We know guys like Hugh Quattlebaum will return to the organization, not as the hitting coach, but most likely as, I think, like an assistant role or something. So we're going to have to see. J-Ram and Sorelli, that's fair. Indians, they have a solid pitching staff, so you really could get something there. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But, yeah, we will have to see. But, yeah, like I said, I'll go over a couple more comments, questions, or concerns you guys do have. And then we'll probably call it a stream here. I just wanted to come on here for about an hour. Just talk some baseball. You know, I haven't been live in about a week, so I figured I'd, talk some baseball with you guys. Jose, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Splorts Asian. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you tuning in. LFGM, as always. Yes, yes. Merlin says Bieber is at least the number 2 starter for the Mets. Yeah, he'd probably be behind DeGrom. So hopefully he could have a good season if he does, and whether he's in Cleveland or New York. Then Mr. Cool says Cleveland had their stuff good with pitching. Yeah, they do have their pitching development pretty good. Tristan McKenzie, Savali, Karen Shack just needs to work in his command, and he'll be fine. They got some good pitching there. And Jack in the Box is LFGM, of course. But yeah, otherwise, we're probably going to call it a stream in about a minute or two. Like I said, I appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream. Obviously, if you are new to the channel, we got a good amount of crew in the chat today. If you are new to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video or a live stream. Hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. If you have to make an account for your dog, your cat, need be. We're almost at 500 subscribers, so let's try to get there. Maybe by like November, December would be nice. I think we're at like 480 or something right now. So yeah, tell your friends about this channel. Let's try to get up there in subs. A lot of good stuff to do this off season. During the off season, like November, December, when it's kind of quiet, we know a lot of the free agency stuff kind of occurs during the winter meetings, which is like mid-December. So like during like the November, December era, where there's like really nothing going on in baseball, I'll probably do like these weekly streams. I'll pick out a day at a time, or I'll do them whenever. And I'll do like Q&As if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns. Maybe we'll go on baseball trade values, explore. Maybe I'll show off some baseball cards. I think someone asked me that before. It was Quintin. Quintin asked me before. Yeah, Quintin, I could definitely do that. I really have no problem doing that. So yeah, otherwise we're really gonna have to see what goes on. It's gonna be a lot to talk about. Mets had a disappointing season, so it's gonna be obvious that the Mets are going to make a lot of moves this offseason, and they're gonna be aggressive, and they're gonna start early. They had a rough season. Their expectations were extremely high, and they unfortunately didn't finish very well. So the Mets are very likely going to be very, very aggressive to start off the offseason. They're, as always, going to be in everyone's conversation to pick up. We're going to see Mets are interested in Carlos Correa. Mets are interested in this guy, and this guy. Doesn't mean they're going to get them, but they're going to voice interest and meetings and examinations and, go to trainings for that. So we're going to see. Otherwise, I do appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream. As always, of course, if you guys do want to follow me on Mets on my social medias, you can do that. You can follow me on Twitter at Mets Hayden. That is the best way to communicate with me. If you guys want to talk sports, baseball, that is where I most likely am on. Obviously, I do post whenever I'm doing a live stream or whenever I uploaded a video. So if you guys do want to know whenever I'm uploading, whenever I'm uploading, you could check me out on there. And then obviously, if you want to follow me on Instagram or Snapchat, please feel free and do that. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream. Yeah. Otherwise, I will see you guys probably shortly. I will be uploading some videos probably pretty soon. This week, I'll probably do some more videos. I did upload a video in regards to Josh Burns. So please check that out if you could. Let me know your thoughts on that. It's going to be something pretty big. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Appreciate you guys tuning in.